Welcome, data people. We are Zuma. My name is Matt, and this is Data for Good. This podcast is brought to you by Zuma. Zuma is a dedicated recruitment company for senior data, insights, and analytics professionals, connecting you with Berlin's most influential companies. The Data for Good podcast is for the world of data analytics and engineering, giving you access to the thoughts and opinions of Berlin's most successful data people. Today, we are joined by Roi Fernández, Data Engineering Manager at Taxfix. We've been looking forward to this episode as Roi will talk us through data engineering and his journey. Roi, welcome. How are you?
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm pretty good starting of the week. Nice weather, so it's really, really nice start of the week.
Fantastic. And you had quite an active weekend this weekend.
Yes, I have my hockey game.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, let's talk data engineering. Let's start with your journey and how you got into data. So what was your first step in the world of data?
Yeah, my first step, as some people coming out from the masters in computer science, most of the people is exciting about data science and about insights in data. So I was one of these people around that time, and I started doing some data science, starting having insights on automotive company, trying to detect where pieces were of machines were broken and these kind of things, detection of outliers. But suddenly I start watching that the data was not good, or there was no data at all. So I started interested in data engineering. In that moment, data engineering was emerging. A lot of people was talking about the topic. So I found it interesting, and also found it interesting because it was solving the problem that I was having at that time, that the data wasn't good, or the data was even not coming. So in that company, I started going to the direction of data engineering, doing by myself some of the work of the data engineer is supposed to do. Most of the times it happens that companies start hiring data scientists before having actual good data. This is a topic that goes around time to time, and that was the case. So I started working in data engineer. Then once I moved to Berlin, I knew I wanted to work in something related about data engineering. I was pretty sure that that was my field because I really enjoy that process. But also I didn't have so much experience on the field, or so many mentors on the field. So I started in another company, in a startup here, where I have a lot of insights on the data engineering field, a lot of good people showing me how to do things, not only related to data engineer, but about DevOps, about other software engineering processes that in my education I had it, but I never had the chance to practice. And then when I came into Taxfix, I started working as a data engineer, already with this backpack of knowledge that I gained in my previous company, and try to experience more with the data engineering field, trying to understand what was the lack nowadays in Taxfix, and trying to understand what needs to be done from a data engineering perspective. When I joined Taxfix was growing, so it was one of these startups that was growing really fast. So a lot of changes also in the data team that started really small and then grow up. So I was able to see the differences stages of the data team, with a whole group, then with a group separated in different areas, data engineering, analytics, and so on. And then I had the chance to become a data engineering manager, which was really nice because it was a good opportunity for me that also I wanted to experience a bit of the sense of managing people and working with people, but in the field of data engineering still, just to not lose all this backpack knowledge that I gained in the past. So basically, this is the journey that brings me to this moment. Yes.
Amazing. It sounds like data engineering wasn't the initial plan, but the more you learn, the more that you understood, you were drawn to data engineering, and the passions grew. And here you are as a data engineering manager, sharing that journey and experiences with your team and those that you work with. As a data engineering manager, how hard is it to allow others to solve the problems as opposed to solving the problems quickly yourself?
Good question. It's at the beginning, it was really difficult for me to understand this because I have this backpack of knowledge that I gained in the past from a lot of people that was helping me, other managers. So at some point I understood that these other managers were helping me, not solving the problems themselves, but giving me time to learn and to properly solve the problems. And this is really important if you want to have a team that works autonomously and that really can solve problems. And healthy team, I would say, healthy team is a team that can work by themselves, and only having my help in other areas, not in the pure technical one, but always having a person where they can ask, or they can ask for a second opinion.
What advice would you give back to maybe a team lead who is looking to make that step from an IC position when they know how to solve everything and they're very confident in their ability, to taking that step and delegating what you once would do yourself? What advice would you give?
First, let people fail, because it's the best for learning, and not rushing with the deadlines. I know sometimes it's hard, depending on the kind of company. If you work for projects, if you work for product, deadlines can be really hard to deal with. But as a manager, you need to have you really need to have the skill to try to make your people fail and learn and spend some time on it, instead of wanting to have all these deadlines that are requested. So you need to find this balance. So let people fail and not rushing with the deadlines.
Absolutely. Well, there is another option. There is the mentoring route, which is something that you're very passionate about. Tell us, what mentoring work have you been part of?
Yeah, I've been in the two sides of mentoring. I've been mentor, and I also was mentor as well. So mentoring is a great opportunity for both sides to learn, because as a mentor, you need to really have experience on the topic that you are mentoring, and even learn about it, and also learn from the person that you are mentoring. In the other side, you are open to learn. You have a person where you can ask So I think it's really both sides are really important. I've been part of both sides and I really enjoyed in both sides because I learned.
It sounds like your learnings were cemented by teaching others.
Exactly. That is really important because, as I mentioned, if you don't know the topic that you are mentoring, if you don't know the topic that you are really showing to the other person, you need to do some kind of hands-on. You need to do some research to be able to show this person. Also, even if you know a bit, you need to do it just to sometimes show that you know more than the person that you are mentoring. Because in other case it will be a bit of a disaster, but of course everything will work out if the person that wants to learn is able to listen to the other person.
Mm. Don't hold me to this quote, but I think it was maybe Einstein who said that someone who really understands a topic is someone who is able to explain it in the most simple terms. And I think could be the case here as well.
Yeah, of course, in every aspect of learning and teaching, this always applies.
So, how does someone get into mentoring?
Oh, it's a good question because from my perspective, I started mentoring inside a company. So inside Taxfix, I have a lot of opportunities to mentoring new joiners on the field of data engineering. This was part of our onboarding. So we have long onboardings with a mentor. I enjoy it a lot because it was an opportunity not only for showing people something, but also to create a connection and create some relations with the people. But there are a lot of opportunities outside as well. I've been contacted more than once by companies outside that they were really focused on mentorship. I know a lot of people in Taxfix that is participating with these companies, not only as a mentor, but also as someone that wants to learn something. So today, mentorship is a hot topic. I would say a lot of people want to show something. For what I told you, that if you want to show something at the end, you're going to learn. But also, if you want to learn something, it's a good opportunity to have one person that is dedicated to you and that you can openly ask any question.
Should in that case, should mentorship be voluntary, or have you seen some good examples of people who have been asked to mentor, they didn't think about it previously, and then done it very well?
I think it should be voluntary, but also asking people to do it is not a bad thing because I saw these cases asking people, hey, what do you think about mentorship? What do you think about mentoring a new joiner? Was okay, maybe it works. At the end, it works really well, but should be voluntary. I also don't want to force nobody that don't like to do this kind of job to do it. So of course, teaching something is really hard and it's really exhausting at the end because it creates also this relationship with someone. So it's more than the normal job. So asking someone to do it is okay, but should be always voluntary.
I think we've all seen success stories when someone has mentored someone that most people didn't think was a good choice, and they've really succeeded. But I agree. I think voluntary, you want to help someone and create an environment to support them. But it's a lot for yourself as well. Like you say, it adds a lot of value to your work and what you try to achieve as well. And naturally, as people's careers progress, it's a big factor that you have to share your knowledge, and it's important to do so. What would you say the biggest thing is that you've gained from mentoring?
The biggest thing again, maybe this relationships that I was mentioned, because learning opportunity is good, something that is forcing you to learn, but having closer relationships with your teammates, or even if you mentor someone outside of your company, having this relationship with someone outside of your company that you can have after the mentorship program, some kind of conversations, talks, discussions. It's really worth it. In that sense, I think it's really worth it. These mentorship programs help to make these open discussions that are really, really good for learning opportunities, career progression, to have yes, good conversations. So it's I think it's really worth it.
Does mentoring always have to be of juniors?
Not at all. I mean, as I was mentioned before, you need to know a bit more than the person that you are trying to mentor, but not necessarily need to be juniors. If you want to move to another field, or if you want to know a bit more on a specific topic that you feel you don't know, even if you're a senior staff, is okay to look for a mentor. So juniors will benefit a lot for a mentor, but also people, senior or staff people, can benefit a lot.
Have you ever learned something from a junior that you were surprised by?
All the time. All the time, because a junior, good thing is that they come up with a different mindset, a mindset that is not already structured to work in the data engineer field. So they have much better ideas on simple tasks than a person that have worked for a long time.
They don't overthink some tasks by the sound of things.
Exactly.
So with the future is often the juniors, and mentoring, learning from them, but guiding them along their career path. I think we could probably get into an interesting topic and a very theoretical one about the future of data engineering. Where do you see it going in the near future, in the next few years? What are the trends that you're seeing?
Yeah, it's a big topic, I would say, hot topic nowadays, because there are a lot of changes. Data engineering is a relatively new field with some years, but it has already been changed. I guess has been changed because of the technologies, because of the organization of the companies that were changing. When I started working on data engineering, was still the Hadoop ecosystem was there, and was Spark was starting emerging, and trying to build what it is right now. However, a lot of things have changed since then. What I see right now is the pipelines, building pipelines, that was the big topic for the last past years, is something that starts to be not so common. So data engineers teams are not so focused on, okay, let's build a ETL pipeline and that's all. Normally it was an ad hoc work. Somebody was asking for the data, or data mart needed to be created, and someone was creating a pipeline. Nowadays we have a lot of tools that are helping us doing these jobs. What is happening, for instance, in Taxfix, is that we split the role of data engineer. Data engineer is a really wide role. We always, when we are hiring, we need to really explain what we are doing in our team, because most of the people can be confused. But what I always explain, what we do in our team is we try to enable people to work with data. We try to enable other teams to work with data. This means that we bring tools, we connect these tools, we create the standards, but we don't really create the pipelines, because we believe that the pipelines can be created, but by people that is more related to the business or more related to the engineering side. But we enable these people to do that. And with the technologies that are emerging right now, for instance, Snowflake. Snowflake is a really good example with dbt on top of it. You can rely on more related business teams or close to business teams, like analytics engineers that are other side of data engineer role, on doing this kind of job. But little by little is being automated more and more. So the data engineer role is more delegated to be able to decide, to connect these tools, to optimize them, to reduce the cost, because also these costs are really related to the cloud services that before it was really the job of the data engineer to build everything, but right now we have a lot of software as a service that we need to use, and it requires a lot of cost. So the data platform or the data engineer here should be someone that optimizes.
So where are we heading as a data engineer? What's the big problem we're trying to solve?
So as a data engineer, what I think we are going to be more related to platform. We are going to be more close to the software engineers than to the business side. And we will create this gap, that it will not be a gap, because this gap will be filled by the tools. The tools that we are having, it will fill this gap between the platform side of the data engineering and the business. So the business will be able to get the data they want in the way they want, without a person in the middle that is connecting all these data points and try to make the flow work, that at the end could be a bottleneck. So building the foundation of the data platform of a company should be the responsibility of a data engineer.
I was reading an article, I think it was last Thursday, about a Google conference, and they believe that in the near future, over 75% of business decisions will be automated. As a data engineering team, how are we going to facilitate that?
again, what I think about the data engineer role is that we are going to bring the tools, connect these tools. So the idea is that of this automation is that we empower the automation, connecting all the tools that the teams in business or engineering they require to make the decisions. I still believe that selecting these tools is really, really important. There is not going to be a tool that rules all of the others. So that's why the data engineer role is still really relevant there, to really understand which tools are necessary, how to connect them, or how to build sometimes if the tool doesn't exist yet. So I think the data engineer is really, really relevant in that part.
Amazing. Well, time has flown. It's been a really, really insightful conversation. A couple of topics before we part ways today. I think data has evolved, like we spoke about. What best practices can we learn from more mature professions such as software engineering within a business? What can we learn there?
What can we learn? I think data engineering should learn a lot from software engineering. All the practices around CD pipelines, testing, about how to work in a team overall. Data engineering is going to be really is going to benefit a lot from these learnings. I think most of the teams are already doing that in data engineering. And little by little, I see that these things are coming up to other data-related roles, even to data scientists, even to data analytics. It's not the same. Data engineer is much more related to software engineer. The data science analytics is a different thing. But teamwork is something that software engineer has been doing really well for the past 20 years, and they improve a lot on how a team should work. So I would say that this is the learning that we need to have in the whole data ecosystem, not only engineers.
Absolutely. And one final question, touching on that a little bit. If I was a software engineer and wanted to take a first step to explore data engineering, what would you advise I do first?
Being a software engineer brings you a lot of benefits because you already have a backpack of learnings that you will require when you are in the data engineering. Data engineering is all about moving data or finding the tools to move data. Software engineers, most of the time, they are doing the same, but in other kinds of storages. So my advice to a software engineer that wants to become a data engineering is start reading about the topic, start building pipelines. I know I said that the future of data engineering is not building pipelines, but it will give you a sense on how everything works behind the scenes. So after you build your first pipeline, you will know if you really want to go in that path or not, to go much deeper there. So my recommendation is to start with that, and then just move forward, just keep learning with a mentor on the topic, having conversations with data engineers on your own company. And at the end, if you really like it, start transitioning into a team that is doing data engineering. But building your first pipeline, it will give you a sense of what is happening in the data engineering world, behind the scenes or actual work.
Give it a go, have a play, see how you enjoy it. Amazing. Yeah. Well, you've taught us a lot, and we could have spoken for a lot longer. I think these topics lead pretty nicely into a future podcast, and we would love to have you on again in the future. But that's all we have time for today. So, yeah, thank you very much for your time and your rich insights, Roy. It's been educational for us all and topics that everyone is talking about. As always, to our listeners, drop your questions and feedback into the comments section. We will pick some out to be answered on future podcasts. And please don't forget to like and share so we can reach as many people as possible and attract as many folks to data as we can. But it is bye from us. Thanks once again, Roy.
Thanks to you. It was a pleasure.
Amazing. And yeah, ciao for now.
Bye.